The price of greed. The scams that rewrote the law. Money is the engine of the world, but for some, it is a highly addictive drug. Welcome to a special edition of Courtroom Reality. Today, we aren't here to look at crimes of passion from local newspapers or armed robberies at convenience stores. Today, we enter the cold and calculated world of white-collar criminals. Brilliant minds, graduates of the world's finest universities, who at some point in their careers decided that the rules governing the rest of us simply did not apply to them. What happens when a Silicon Valley rising star systematically lies about a medical technology that doesn't exist? What occurs when a respected Wall Street advisor, a pillar of the community, erases the life savings of thousands of families with a single stroke of a pen? In the next few minutes, we will analyze 3 historic trials that didn't just end in devastating sentences, but revealed the deep darkness hiding behind corporate success and unbridled ambition. Get ready, because the fall from the top is always the most painful. And today, we will witness how these paper empires crumbled before the gavel of justice. Our first act takes us to the technological heart of the world, Silicon Valley. Elizabeth Holmes had a dream she sold as a humanitarian revolution, democratizing healthcare. With just a single drop of blood, her company, Theranos, promised to detect hundreds of diseases instantly and cheaply. Holmes became the world's youngest self-made female billionaire, always dressing in black, imitating her idol, Steve Jobs. But in the federal courthouse of San Jose, California, the mirage dissolved. Prosecutor Jeff Schenck opened the case with a statement that left the room in a deathly silence. This case is not about a startup that failed. It is about fraud, about deliberately lying to get money. For months, the jury heard heartbreaking testimony that went far beyond monetary losses. These weren't just investors losing millions, they were real patients. One woman testified, her voice cracking, how Theranos gave her a false positive for HIV, destroying her peace of mind and her relationships for months of agony. Another patient recounted how she received a misdiagnosis of a miscarriage due to Holmes's faulty machines. This is where the legal drama reached its peak. Holmes's defense attempted a desperate and risky tactic, claiming she was a victim of emotional abuse and that her partner, Sunny Balwani, controlled her every move. However, the prosecution presented the smoking gun, a mountain of emails and text messages where Holmes celebrated contracts based on blatant lies. She claimed the United States military was using her technology in combat helicopters in war zones, when in reality, the military had never approved it. Judge Edward Davila was relentless in his verdict. Before handing down the sentence of 11 years and 3 months, he looked at Holmes and reminded her that failure is normal in the business world, but fraud is a crime that undermines the trust of an entire society. This case forever changed how tech companies are audited and marked the end of the fake it till you make it era. But if we are talking about master deceptions, we must travel to the financial capital of the world to meet the architect of the largest fraud in history, Bernie Madoff. Madoff was no stranger to Wall Street. He personified the system. He was the chairman of NASDAQ and an investment advisor whose reputation was impeccable. The wealthy, world-renowned charitable foundations and middle-class retirees trusted him blindly. However, Behind the doors of his office in the Lipstick Building, Madoff operated a $65 billion Ponzi scheme. On June 29, 2009, the entire world watched as the Titan became prisoner number 61727-054. The drama in the courtroom was electric. 9 victims, representing thousands of those affected, had the opportunity to speak before Judge Denny Chin. One woman, representing a charity that had to close its doors, looked Madoff in the eye and said, "We gave you our future to help others, and you gave us back ashes." Madoff remained impassive, with a hollow expression that infuriated those present. His lawyers tried to plead for leniency, suggesting a sentence of 12 years due to his advanced age, arguing that any long sentence would, in effect, be a life sentence. From a legal and financial standpoint, the Madoff case exposed a catastrophic failure in oversight mechanisms. Bernie exploited something called segregation of duties. In a legitimate investment, the person managing the money and the one holding it must be separate entities to ensure checks and balances. Madoff did it all himself, creating fake account statements in a secret office that no regulator bothered to seriously inspect for decades, because, simply put, Bernie was Bernie. Judge Chin, in handing down the historic 150-year sentence, called his crimes extraordinarily evil and an assault on the trust that holds our economy together. Madoff died in a federal cell, alone and repudiated, leaving a lesson that even today, in the digital age, many investors seem to forget far too easily. Finally, we come to the case that has defined our current decade and shaken the foundations of the new economy: the collapse of Sam Bankman-Fried and his FTX empire. If Madoff was the fraud of the 20th century, SBF was the fraud of the 21st. The crypto king, who wore old t-shirts and played video games during meetings with investors, turned out to be the mastermind behind an $8 billion financial black hole. His trial in New York was described as the most important legal event for Gen Z. What made this trial so fascinating for legal analysts was the internal betrayal. Caroline Ellison, his right hand and former partner, was the prosecution's star witness. In testimony that lasted for days, Ellison stripped away every one of Bankman-Fried's lies, detailing how he personally ordered her to use money deposited by FTX customers to pay off the massive debts of his other investment firm, Alameda Research. "He was the one who designed the system so we could steal without anyone noticing," she stated under oath. The trial's climax occurred when Sam decided, against all his lawyers' advice, to take the stand in his own defense. It was an absolute disaster. Under cross-examination by the prosecutor, he could not explain why backdoors existed in his software that allowed funds to be diverted automatically. Judge Lewis Kaplan was not impressed by the distracted genius image Sam tried to project. In sentencing him to 25 years in federal prison, Kaplan pointed out something crucial. Sam didn't just steal money. He committed perjury repeatedly during the trial and never showed a shred of real remorse for the millions of people who lost their savings on his platform. This case marked the end of the Wild West of digital assets and forced governments worldwide to impose regulations that today, in 2026, continue to transform the markets. 3 cases, 3 empires, 3 devastating falls. Elizabeth, Bernie, and Sam thought, in their arrogance, that they were smarter than the law and the justice systems. But in the end, they all finished in exactly the same place, in front of a judge, head bowed, answering for the trail of destruction they left behind. These stories remind us that greed is an ancient tale that always finds new technologies to disguise itself. But the gavel of justice has a sound that strikes the same way for everyone, no matter how many zeros are in their bank account. Which of these three cases do you find the most outrageous? Do you think a 25-year sentence for Sam Bankman-Fried is fair compared to the 150 years Madoff received? We want to hear your analysis in the comments section. If this journey through the shadows of finance and law has been interesting to you, please support our content with a like and subscribe to Courtroom Reality. Your interaction allows us to keep investigating and bringing the most impactful stories from the courts directly to your screen. Until the next session, where reality always exceeds fiction.